Hello everybody and welcome back to Mass Effect 2164 with a psycho killer. That's right.
Two
Ollie,
of them,
don't you run. Don't you run, you're a psycho killer. Psycho killer.
There was some gristle in
Is
my
this now
pie.
our?
I wanted to spit it out on camera.
What'd you say, Carmine?
Is this now our hood? You know, we took over the previous
right.
gang that controlled
That's right. Ooh. Ooh. All right.
all of the base lines military to retake everything back.
Yeah, we just paid them
That
like
take
that.
this jump is beyond me.
So you guys are we had a situation. It escalated. Maybe could have been de-escalated at one point, but then went very far. And then there was a concern that maybe somebody was going to blow up Carmine, and so you took the opportunity to just end it with. Like, there is zero chance Carmine will be blown up from this situation. I'm not going to gamble it with somebody else's life, no question. It's just, Carmine is safe. He has a mission. We are here for a greater purpose than just one person. We're here to save many peoples. So we're going to go and take care of that. As you, right before we went on that little break, you had questions the woman about what was going on and whether she could give answers. Sadly, she's catatonic. If she was able to be pulled from it before, most likely not going to be able to after now watching the most recent thing happen. So, however, fortunately for you, the young boy, because children are like, because the other one's like maybe 9, are kind of different. They're both more fragile in the long term, but yet more resilient in the short term than adults are, because they don't fully understand the gravity of things the way that adults do. So he is able to more easily speak to you. So he's like, what do you want to know?
The people disappearing, tell me what you know.
They're being taken. They're disappearing.
Time frame, any sort of similarities in the people.
All the time. They're taking anybody. Men or women, young or old, doesn't matter. They take anybody.
Rockwell will just, like, while this is going on, like, actually turn to Carmine's like, we're not going to get any more intelligence here.
Yeah, Carmine's just shaking his head at you, just like, no, this is not going to be our prime suspect. This is not going to be our prime witness, rather. Not suspect. Calm it down. We already took enough lives here today.
He's like, I never saw them. We're kids. We didn't go out there. They saw them. They saw them. It was Nick. He actually saw them. Kind of gestures off into the distance over to where Carmine was standing before.
Rockwell's, like, listening, but he's not saying anything.
That's where he stopped.
Yeah. If he just stops and he stops, he'll just go out to Carmine and say, honestly, we should keep moving.
Yeah. Best not to hang around here for too much longer.
He kind of, like, checks his Omni tool for a second, and then just starts moving.
Okay.
I do make a point of walking over to the kid and just kneeling and just like, look, I know this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but I'm sorry. I tried to handle things peacefully. I didn't want to kill anyone. I'm sorry. And then he just gets up and walks off. He knows the kid will resent him for the rest of his life, but he still wanted to make the gesture.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys do anything else in this area before you keep moving on?
No, I would order Carmine to sort of, like, keep watch while I'm writing the report.
You wouldn't
Honestly,
have to.
like
I automatically keep.
I would say it anyway, but yeah, it's the logical. And then we'd be walking while I'm writing, but just to get out of here and keep going on our path.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd also fill Lena in on what happened, like just while we're there.
You want to know the interesting thing?
She said she responds telling you that your comm is open. She's just,
Yeah,
as you try to fill her in, she just interrupts you and says, "Comms are open," and that's all she says.
I just shrug. Figured you want a complete oversight anyway, and just keep moving, keep going.
The interesting thing for future reference, when writing a report, Rockwell doesn't mention anyone's age. Doesn't come up.
Okay.
Probably for the best.
So you guys make your way through the rest of making your way out of here. You're continuing to head a smidge more to the east to the next place. Now, as you guys are getting there, it is starting to get a bit darker because you've been hoofing it for a considerable amount of time. It is starting to get a good bit darker. You, of course, do have your drone, has the ability to see infrared and so on and so forth. And actually, your helmets themselves do have the ability to see in infrared as well, if need be. They're not anywhere near as powerful as the drones. It's kind of like built into the set that you have. But it's not anywhere near as sorry, not infrared. I'm so sorry. My apologies. With night vision, the green light night vision. You know what I mean? So you are able to use that at nighttime if you need to, but it's not quite that dark yet. It's that obnoxious in between dusk where night vision wouldn't be fully effective and normal sight isn't fully effective. As you're approaching the next place, when you're getting closer, you do get word from Lena that she was able to get a few of the computers up and running, and that she's networking them together to try to boost like the power of it. That's like, you know, having one as the master, a few as the slaves, to try to like boost the power of it and whatnot. And then she's gonna then try to like see if she can reach out to grab one of the satellites, but it's gonna take several more hours at least. What do you guys choose to do as you're approaching this next town?
Well, my bet is that they don't have great night vision, so we would probably be at an advantage. That said, close quarters, low visibility, not exactly my favorite. We're also not going to be able to ask many questions.
I'm more
We're pretty much
concerned
gonna-
about exhaustion, Carmine. Walking all day. We could track this next place, sure. We might miss something. Deadly. We probably should find some way to... somewhere relatively safe to at least get some moments of rest.
Carmine, you remember, of course, in the Navy, they don't get the same 72-hour no-sleep training that you had to
exactly.
get while you were at the tail end of your boot camp and
Yeah.
whatnot. 72 hours of active duty, nonstop, no sleep, no nothing, out in a dangerous, or at least mock dangerous field. He didn't get that kind of training like you did, so, you know, he needs a nap.
He
But
needs
go ahead.
beauty sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do like it when you're actually able to do what you need to do. So, we'll go looking for a safe spot to lay up for a while then. Maybe observe the region a little bit.
Yeah.
So do you want to go to like the outskirts of the town and choose like one of like the outlier buildings, secure
I
it?
would...
Personally,
If it's-
Carmine would prefer like a rocky outcrop somewhere, maybe like a
Yeah.
small hilltop or something, where we've got cover from all
Honestly.
surroundings and like got a good visible, got a good like vantage point as well.
It's gonna be pretty difficult to find that. You guys are welcome to roll for me a survival check if you're walking around trying to find this with -3. Again, it's getting dark. You don't know the area. You don't know any of it well enough. You're using your Omni-tool pulses, but you don't have schematics of everything for this planet.
Nah.
Because the extranet doesn't cover this planet anymore.
And it's worth an attempt. What's the attribute for that survival?
Survival wisdom I rolled. Just assuming.
Mhm.
-3.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Or
You're
not.
apparently fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys actually don't do terrible. You do find a position that you feel as though is halfway decent. You know what I mean? Does it give you full cover from all areas? No. However, it does give you some pretty good natural cover, and it does give you the ability to see down towards that town in case anything were to come from it. Like, yeah, you would have
Yeah.
a little bit of sight that way.
That's probably our best way to go. By the way, just for those people in chat, that was actually a double 6, but I had a -4.
Aww. Yep. All right.
Yep. It was a critical success, which is why you're able to be pretty successful with what you're looking for. So, awesome. you were Ollie. Your drone has been actively going for about 12 hours. If you want,
Yes.
you can leave it continuing to run to be watch overnight, so both of you guys can sleep no problem. But then it's going to be on the tail end of its battery tomorrow, or you can turn
Station keeping, it only takes 5 minutes of battery if it's left on overnight. Because it's not if it's not actively watching.
it off.
Which it can't do anyway.
I meant if actively watching.
But it can't do that anyway.
Oh,
So,
it can't set off an alarm if it sees
I guess
something?
I could program it to do that, but that's not like an option in it right now.
Okay.
You have to get like a very expensive system to do it. Anything that's like
Mm-hmm.
fully self-aware. Well, not self. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah. No, I get
But
what you're saying.
I would actually just sort of actually turn it off.
Yep.
If there's like a similar like sleep mode, so it turns back on quicker, it wouldn't be like a full turn off because we're not on a ship.
No, you're fine.
But
So
yeah,
it effectively
that kind of
uses
thing.
no battery overnight. You're good. Okay. So how are you guys going to do watch then?
I'll keep watch. Simple as that.
How much sleep do each of you intend to get?
I was thinking 4 hours. You know, like enough to be a restful sleep,
Mm-hmm.
slightly longer than a nap.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, if Carmine does want to sleep, I will give him a chance. But if he's just like, no, I'm not going to sleep, I'm a Marine, then the case is.
You can do 4 and 2. You take 4 hours sleep. He takes 2 hours sleep. That kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'll take like
seems
2
sensible.
hours of sleep if the scenario is like still no changes
It's
or anything.
safe. Yeah.
But if there's even a small suggestion that something might be wrong, I will just happily take it and be like, yeah, we're gonna go.
It's like even if we see like trucks, that's enough.
Mhm.
If it's just completely
Yeah.
peaceful.
Yeah.
7 hours
Runs.
downtime. Roll for me because there's going to be 6 hours of watching. Carmine, roll for me 2, and then Ollie, roll for me 1 perception check, please.
Coolio. Oh. I like when that happens.
Carmine, you notice ships flying overhead. You can hear them. They're older, so they're more audible than modern ones would be. But you can hear things flying overhead around this area, not like directly over this town per se, but definitely things flying overhead from time to time while Rockwell's sleeping. Rockwell, I imagine, like hears it enough that he dreams about it or something like that, but it's not enough to wake him up. He sleeps on a ship all the time. It's always loud there, right? So
Yeah, we're
depending
used
on where
to
you
some
are.
background noise.
Exactly.
Okay, so would this
So
seem like
That's the
out of
first
the
2
ordinary to
hours.
me?
I mean, everything's out of the ordinary, but at the same time, this is a combat zone, so the idea that one or multiple places are flying something overhead, it's not that out of the ordinary. So,
Okay, so I wouldn't be too alarmed at that.
no. And then in the second 2 hours of your keeping watch, I mean, you do hear noises from time to time and look over, and it seems to be like the whatever the fauna is of this area seems to be here. You don't notice any signs of people per se. When you finally pass out, and then Rockwell takes over, he does notice something because it's not last hour. He notices lights off in the distance, but they're like must have been brighter lights, and they're short-lived. Not like flashes of a bomb or gunfire or anything like that. But there must have been brighter lights and very short-lived because they were pretty far off. I mean, like I said, you have a bit of a vantage point. So, and it didn't seem to be coming from the town itself. It seems to be coming from past it. But there is multiple kilometers away light happening. It's hard to see what it is. You're welcome to turn on your drone and see what that can find.
I think I would do that because he's asleep. I wouldn't like run off, but I would power up the drone and sweep the area.
I mean, it can check
Or,
up
like,
to
the
100
direction.
kilometers, right? So.
I wouldn't take it very far away from me. It's mostly just be like, what can it see from this hill? that
What's
I
its
can't,
range
you know?
of sight? What is it? 2 kilometers?
Doesn't say. Oh yeah, 2 kilometers for reading faces. So I imagine it'd be 2 kilometers for everything, right?
No, that's
more or less.
fine sight. Fine sight, right? I imagine it could be even 3 kilometers. So you would send it maybe to like over near the rim of the town, which is about 2.5 kilometers from where you guys are, and then
Okay,
it
that's
would, from there it would be able to see easily beyond that to what's beyond, and you would actually see that there's a movement happening over there. There's a group of people that are moving. They stopped at one point in time after you had that flashlight, and they stopped at one point in time, and you can see that there is a bright light that they had set up The people out there, it looks to be a dozen of them. Whoever they are,
Okay.
there's a dozen of them out there. And a bright light comes on for a second. You can actually see with your own eyes for a second when it happens. The light emits an incredible amount of heat, which is like very quickly, as all of a sudden it gets super bright, and all of a sudden it just immediately shuts off after like less than a minute. And then the people keep moving again. And they're moving along in that area. They're generally moving slightly to the south. So they're moving very south and slightly to the west, like towards.
So they'll actually
Yes.
kind of hit us.
Hmm?
If the way I've got this is imagined right, they'll eventually sort of come our way.
Come
right?
your
Or am I
way, but
crazy?
not close enough to
Not-
you where they would
not-
notice it.
yeah.
Yeah, they would stay easily like 2 to 3 kilometers from where you are, but definitely getting closer.
I would be bringing the drone back,
Mhm.
and I would have, like, of course, taken pictures of everything. Like, just from forever, assume Rockwell is taking pictures of everything ever, right? He's got the biggest Dropbox folder in the world.
Mhm.
And it when by the time that's back, which I imagine will be like, I don't know, a few more minutes, I'll then go to wake up Carmine. Not like actually very harshly. What I'd actually do is I have glow bugs with me, which are like tiny, very bright LEDs that are sticky.
Honestly,
And I would
Carmine's
flash
trained
one
so
into, like,
well. You could probably
over his
just wake
face.
him up by saying his name loud enough. Just
I'm not
you know.
going to though. I'm gonna like cap it so the light's only facing downwards and go like over his face.
And this is after he got his 2 hours.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so
It
Carmine,
might
you
be
wake
more
up.
like an hour 50, but close enough. I wouldn't want to wake him too early, which is why I waited a bit.
You wake up not to the sweet, sultry, murderous voice of Rockwell, but instead to a bright light in your eyes, because that's always pleasant.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Couldn't think of a better way to wake me up.
Movement, group of people. They're setting up some kind of apparatus that makes bright light every few kilometers.
Where are they coming from? Are they heading towards us?
I would just kind of like omni-tool the rough like path the drone took where they were, reference to it. Easier to show than speak, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So-
should
This direction, but
Right,
not
so-
interception, unless you choose to.
we should.
Does it seem like they're coming from the Great Before, or could these be people from Tom? Because I'm thinking these might be either Great Before people, or something else entirely.
Yeah, valid point.
They're traveling pretty much south and somewhat west. So it's very possible they originated in Tom near the north and they're making the way down and in. Or they originated from the Great Before and they're making the way down and in. You don't know their point of origin.
Okay.
But they're even further to the east, obviously, by a couple kilometers. Obviously, they're in the Great Before's boundary, but once again, it's boundaries are kind of...
It goes without saying that this is suspicious. It goes without saying that everything on this planet is suspicious. We should, at the very least, observe. But I would want you and your weaponry, your skill with said weaponry, because there is a lot of them there, and I don't. That unnerves me. What they're doing.
Worst case scenario, we have a vantage point, the element of surprise, and way better weaponry. I'm not too concerned.
Exactly. I'm more concerned about what they're doing.
Would we have gotten an update from Lena at this point about possibly hacking a satellite or not?
Mm-hmm. You can reach out to her with the comms. So you
Yeah,
reach out
I
to her and
definitely
say
would.
exactly what?
Good morning. Do you have any news about that satellite you might have gotten for us?
About a solid 30 seconds passes without her saying anything. Do you say anything else, or?
No.
Okay. So then after that solid 30 seconds, eventually you finally hear her say, "Fuck off. I was finally nodding."
Apologies, but we've got movement. A dozen people flashing a bright light. Would be useful to get some extra eyes on that.
Yeah, I got a link, but I got to get through the... It's like... It's an old lock, but like none of the keys fit because it's such shit. So I've got something working on it, but it might take a day, maybe less, to take over. And then I'll have full eyes.
Alright, keep us posted.
Heads up. This satellite, the only one I can get a clean signal to is Tom's. So, in case they notice something.
Good to know.
Ugh. Okay.
Okay. So, You guys know that a day or less should be able to give you some sort of ice.
Well, we're not going in blind. We can see far clearer than they can see us, and you like tap Euros. I want to keep it near us, but it can almost see them from here. Honestly, when they get closer, we'll have full view more or less of what they're doing.
Yeah, looks like their path will come close, roughly.
If not, I might have to move it a few kilometers.
That's possible, yeah.
It's
So
just
what do you
people
wanna
on
do?
this planet, when they see this coming out of a bush, they won't ask questions.
So remember, a length of a day here is about 25 hours long. So
Yeah.
so nights are generally the same. So because of 7 hours have passed, it's still dark out now for a couple more hours before sun comes up.
That's what I assumed.
Mhm.
So I would do kind of what I described, like I'll let Carmen set up a little bit more of a position, and I'll move the drone a little forward, so almost like trying to intercept their path, but find somewhere where it can hide more or less. But it's not that it's going to be like right beside them wherever they go, but just so it has a vantage point of what they're watching.
So the get it close
Your
enough so you
overlays
can...
up, Scott.
What?
Yeah,
Your
I
overlays
think you
up.
switch it to the... Yeah.
Oh.
You hotkeyed by accident.
Yeah, that's why. Okay, cool. So thank you. So yeah, there's my apologies, just thinking for a second. So you drive the thing forward by a solid, like, because again, they're probably going to pass by about 3 kilometers away. So you drive it up again to about 2.5 kilometers to make sure, but in a different direction, to make sure you're significantly closer to them, so you can get really good vision from the drone. You're saying, but you guys are hanging back
We need to see
yourselves.
their faces.
Yeah, make for me a perception check with the drone. And because you had time to choose a vantage point with your guess for the interception, you can have a plus 1 on it.
Cool.
You, of course, rolled shit. No, it's not actual shit. It's just under average. So,
We're consistent.
Just
Yeah.
like me.
just under average? I want to say, never mind. So, you roll your perception check to see what this thing... Once again, you count out a dozen peoples. Looking at them, this is a dozen peoples. They're walking around, and they are armed with weapons, every one of them. They are suited with space gear, every one of them, with armored suits, which are much more modern than anything you've seen so far. And you do actually see that off in the distance. You didn't notice it beforehand because you were focused on this group. But now there's like easier to see things, and but off in the distance, even further to the east of this by a couple kilometers, there seems to be some sort of transport vehicle. You're not familiar with the maker model.
I'll be in a position so like Carmine can actually see what the drone sees as well, and I'll just very clearly point out that we can't see their faces. A Batarian with a helmet on would look vaguely human.
There's not a lot of space gear on this planet.
It's I don't know if I can. If we knew more about the biometrics of a Batarian, I could compare, right? But that's not possible with the information that we have.
Nah.
And there's a lot of them, and they've got a vehicle, and they've got spacesuits and guns. We can't just go up and talk to them. That's not possible.
Assume hostile, yeah.
The question is how and what do we do?
I think it'll be tough with just the two of us.
This would be the
Like-
perfect situation to have a sniper.
Yeah. With 4-kilometer range, that would be great. I do get on the radio with Lena, just in case, just checking whether she has a line of sight. Probably
I would like
not.
ping her the like if we get like a good shot of everything, but I'm not assuming she's really helping. So
No.
She responds again eventually, like, "Fuck off! I just said I was
I actually
just
just mute
nodding
her.
off."
But if she's gonna be unprofessional, I just like actually hard mute her until she's.
Well,
Like,
she's that way to
ready.
Carmine because.
Oh,
she's
if
friends
it's just a Carmine.
Yeah,
then
because she's
that's
friends with
fine.
them. Yeah.
If I don't hear it, I don't care. But
Like when
that
you
would
send
be very
the message to her, she more or less just presses a button that says like I accept or I understand. Like you know how like emails have that like,
Seen.
auto response, yep, seen kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
so like she's not a problem, but she actually with Carmine, she's like, what the fuck? I just said I'm going to sleep. It's a
I
all
miss
night
you not
coding,
being around,
asshole.
that's all.
So,
What?
I miss her not being around. That's all. I'm just
Yeah.
here with Rockwell now.
yeah, you got the worst deal. When it's just gonna be you and Rookie, that's gonna be a great time, right? But me with anyone paired with Rockwell is not.
I love the salt she'd pour all over you if it was just the two of you, but you know, without Carmine to ease it, because he's a good go-between. All right, so continuing on.
I want to try and get more look at the ship, at their transport.
Sure.
Is it a vehicle or a ship?
It's a vehicle.
I'd want to look at it more and
It's a
and see
terrain
what
vehicle. It's made for like moving across ground, not like.
Is it
floating
human
around.
looking?
It's a maker model you're not very familiar with, so you don't know.
That's the suspicion. I don't really know what to do other than just continue tracking them.
Yeah. Like, we can't take an engagement at this point.
We
Like,
can't.
just-
We can't afford to fight these guys on an open field. So, even though we're on a
Well,
hill,
the surprise might be good, but it's not that good.
nah. Unless you, yeah, no. If they ended up finding us, sabotage would be useful, but it is not going to save your asses. It's going to buy you time to run, right?
Or to do an amazing assault for one round or whatever. Yeah.